Alright, so we're starting at figure 7.20. We finished the roof over here on the east wing. We're really going to be focused on this roof here and putting roofs on the rest of the building for the remainder of the chapter. Many of the procedures are almost identical to what we've already done, but they will minor things will result in slightly different roofs. So first thing we're going to do is put a pitched roof or a gabled roof on this corridor area. So item 1, go to a 3D view of the model. Item 2, select the 6 corridor walls. Now, you may have to navigate around that model to actually get all 6 corridor walls. But hold down the control key. You'll be able to add your selection. Item 3, in the Properties dialog box, click the Edit Type button. Click the Duplicate button. Alright, so we're going to come in here, we're going to duplicate this. And we're going to call this No Parapet. And the reason we're going to call this No Parapet is typically a wall that has a pitched roof that goes beyond it doesn't have a parapet cap on it. We hit OK. In the Structures row, click the Edit button. And you can see this wall has lots of information on it, right? In the Edit Assembly dialog box, make sure the Preview button is selected and the view is set to Section. Alright, so we're going to click on Preview here. We're going to set this view to Section. You can see we got a whole bunch of stuff happening here in this wall. It's a very complex wall. Without the Preview button selected and set the section to Section, you can't modify the parapet sweep. So when you did this, so I'm going to go back to Floor Plan. You see how these are grayed out? When I turn this to Section, they become active. So I can start to modify different parts of this wall that we haven't talked about yet. We're going to go into Sweeps. And you're going to see that there's some wall sweeps associated with this wall. The one we're going to be working with is layer 1 here, which is the parapet cap. Right, in the Wall Sweeps dialog box, you see 3 sweeps. The top sweep is the parapet cap. Select Sweep 1, Parapet Cap, and click the Delete button. So we're going to select this. And I want you to watch this piece right here in the section. So when I hit Delete, it should have gone away. Apply. Okay, now see how there's no parapet cap there any longer? And that was the whole purpose of what we were doing with this wall. Item 10, click OK 3 times. So basically what we've done is this wall over here has this gray parapet cap. These walls over here don't have a parapet cap. That's all that procedure was to do. On to the next step. It's time to add the roof corridor. Because the walls of your roof are now correct, the rest will be snapped. Here are the steps. Item 1, go to the level 3 floor plan. And I'm using the project browser, it's just off the screen. Going to level 3. Alright, we're going to be working right in here. Item 2, on the Architecture tab, choose the Roof by Footprint. Alright, Architecture tab, Roof by Footprint, and it takes us into sketch mode. On the Draw panel, make sure the Pick Walls button is selected. It is. Pick the 6 walls that comprise the corridor. Oh, hold on. I skipped an option here. On the Options bar, make sure the Define Slopes button is selected. This is very important. Type 1 foot in the overfilled hang. Okay. Pick the 6 walls that compose the corridor shown in figure 7.23. And what you're going to notice that you didn't notice before is all these lines have a little triangle associated with them. And next to that triangle they have something that says 9/12. This is going to be a very steep roof if we leave it at 9/12. Another thing to think about, Is this a closed boundary? No. So if I went to finish this right now, what would you expect? Yeah, in fact, let's just do it. Oh no. Gives me all sorts of errors, highlights these. So I'm going to hit continue so I can continue editing this. With easy walls out of the way, let's create a gable in. You should still be in pick walls mode. This is okay, but there are a few things you need to change on the options bar. Item 1. Click the boundary line button on the draw panel if it isn't active. It is. Item 2. On the draw panel, again, click the pick lines icon. Alright, pick lines. Item 3. On the options bar, deselect define slope. Item 4. For offset, set 0. It is already set to 0. Item 5. Pick the east wall of the west wing and the west wall of the east wing, as you see figure 7.24. So basically this wall and this wall. So I'm done now, right? I can just hit exit. It's gonna, yeah, it has to be a continuous closed loop. It's cleanup time. Of course, the magenta lines are overlapping along walls. This is okay. You're an expert at the trim command by now, especially in sketch mode. So I'm just going to invoke it by typing TR, and I'm going to come in here and clean this stuff up. Okay, but we're still not done. Okay. No, well, it's going to tell us that we're done because it wants to show us how bad this is going to look. All right. On the mode panel, I'm at figure 7.25, item 3. On the mode panel, click the finish edit mode. Okay. Go to a 3D view. We got some issues, right? All right, so we need to fix some of this stuff. It's primarily because Revit just doesn't, it's complex geometry, it doesn't know what to do at this point. Alright. To fix this roof, you simply have to make 2 separate roofs and join them. This is a common procedure for the more complicated roof systems in Revit. Here are the steps. If you aren't already in level 3, go there now and select the roof. Alright, so we'll go back to level 3. We're going to select this roof. On the Modify Roof tabs, click the Edit Footprint button. That'll take us back into sketch mode. Delete every line other than the 3 shown in figure 7.27. So we're going to delete these lines, and we're going to keep these 3. On the Draw panel, click the Line button. Item 5. Draw a diagonal line between the endpoints of the 2 lines. Item 6. On the Modify Roof Footprint tab, click the Finish Edit mode. Alright, so that's, and I'm going to take you into 3D real quick and show you. That's what that's done over there. And we'll fix this parapet thing here in a minute. So that's okay. Now I'm going to go back into layer 3, or level 3. And we'll continue working on this. Item 7, start the roof by footprint command again on the architecture tab. You can also select the roof and create similar on the modify roofs tab that is currently active. On your own, sketch the roof as shown. Make sure that the lines along the wall are defining a slope. The lines that represent the ends of the roof don't slope. Alright, so it told us to do it on our own. We're going to go to the roof. We're going to pick walls. I'm going to pick this wall and this wall and this wall. And oh, do these have little arrows, little triangles? No. So I'm going to hit define slope here in the option bar, and it's going to define that slope for me. So now they have arrows. We're good to go. Now I need a couple lines over here. So pick wall on this side. Oh, no, that's all sorts of ugly. At a 1 foot offset, so that didn't help me there. Let's just delete that line. Use trim quickly to trim these up. Alright. And then I'm going to go from here to here. But I got to make sure I use the same line. Does that make sense? And trim these to a corner.
That was just a boundary line you drew, right?
Yep. Trim these to a corner. Alright, this looks about right. Hopefully this works. Okay, it's looking pretty positive so far. Let's look at it in 3D. Looking good, or looking better than it was. Alright, so we're at figure 7.30. We match what the book is at matched us to do. The corridor of the roof in 3D is shown in figure 7.30. The walls need some help. They're indiscriminately poking up through the roof. Let's do some wall cleanup. First, you need to force the walls to use a mitered joint at the 45 intersections. Follow the procedures. The following procedures show you how. Go to level 1 floor plan. Zoom into the wall intersection shown in figure 7.31. On the Modify tab, click the Wall Joint button. What's this? When we hover over this joint, it will let us select that joint and then tell it that we want it to join those two walls together in one of three manners. But we want this to be mitered, and we've done this before. So go ahead and select these joints, make them mitered. Okay, very good. So this takes us through figure 7.31. You can now attach the tops of the walls to the bottom of the roof as follows. Go back to a 3D view and select one of the corridor walls. All right, let's go to a 3D view. I'm just going to click up here for the standard 3D view. And it wants me to select, being difficult. For some reason, it's not giving me a pick window. Alright, so it's not allowing me to pick the roof because I still have the wall joint command active. So if you run into this problem, click on the Modify button to take you out of that command, and then you can actually select this wall. On the Modify Walls tab is an option to attach the top or base of the wall, as shown in figure 7.32. Click the Attach Top/Base button. So I'm going to click this button. It's basically going to ask me to select a roof, and I'm going to select that roof. It gives us the warning, but it's the warning that we expect because the book tells us we should expect that warning. And what it's done is it's attached the wall to the top of that roof. and cleaned it up completely. So I didn't have to go in there and edit the wall profile. Revit's smart enough to know that walls and roofs walls should stop at roofs when you tell them to. So we're going to go ahead and select these others walls and do the same procedure. And you'll get that error pretty much every time because of the complexity of this wall. And you can do this in 3D, or you can do it in elevation. Oh, this is going to give me a whole host of errors. And it's giving me a whole host of errors because I selected this wall, and they don't both easily attach to that wall. So I'm going to select just these 3 walls and do that command. Wants to give me a little grief. Let's try that one more time. Select those walls, attach top base, select the roof. And we'll do it one last time for this wall, attach top base. And now those walls are all cleaned up. We've made a pitched roof. So the next thing we're going to focus on is how we actually can see this roof. Because if we go back to level 3, you're going to see this looks kind of funny, right? That's not the way we want this to look. So viewing a sloped roof and plan. Back in level 3, the level in which corridor roof resides, you're having a view problem. The roof is showing up only to the cut plane for that level. This can't be. There is a procedure to correct this. It's called a plan region. Here are the steps. Go to level 3, floor plan. Item 2, on the view tab, choose plan view. We're going to go to view here. We're going to choose plan view. And we're going to choose a plan region. It's going to take us into sketch mode. Kind of. Item 3, on the draw panel, click the rectangle button as shown in figure 7.35. Basically what we want to do is draw a rectangle. It's going to encompass this this pitched roof. And we're going to change the view range, but only for that plan region. Does that make sense? So I want to see the top of that pitched roof, but I don't want to see all the other stuff that's on level 4. Yep. Well, not completely arbitrary. I want to make sure that it actually fills in. The book was much more precise about it, so I guess I can be a little bit more precise. I'll align this here.
Essentially, though, it doesn't matter, right? As long as it fills in the whole roof and doesn't...
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. But the book was very precise, so I'll be very precise about it and align those things. In the Properties dialog box, hold on. Draw a rectangle around the corridor. Be sure to snap to the exact points where the roof meets the taller walls on the east and west wings. In the Properties dialog box, click the Edit button in the View Range row. So we're going to hit Edit here. In the View Range dialog box, set the top to Unlimited and Level 3 cut plane offset to 35. We're going to set this to Unlimited. We're going to set this to 35 feet. Click OK. Now, if I finish this, I can now see the peak of my roof. I didn't change the view over here. I didn't change the view over here. I only changed this view. That makes sense? This is a really handy tool. And now, if I needed to change the boundary of that plan, I could drag it out. Let's drag out this other one over here to... Oh, now I've made it angry. Let's drag it out over this way so you can see. Well, nothing's going to change, except now you see the floor. Does that make sense? This is my plan view. So we'll move that back to where we need it to go. All right, very good. On to the next item here. Creating a sloped roof. To begin the process of creating a sloped roof, you'll cap off the west wing of your building. The exterior walls used for the perimeter need to be altered. You're already approached this, so let's start right there. Go to a 3D view and select the west wing exterior walls. And I just hit tab so I can select all of them quickly. Give you a moment to grab those walls. Item 3. In the type selector, select exterior brick and CMU on metal stud, no parapet. Because we already created this wall type. Give the computer a moment to think. And now there's no parapet on those walls. Item 4, in the project browser, go to the west roof floor plan. So I'm going to pull the project browser over here so you can see it. West roof floor plan. Perfect. Move this back. Alright, you can see I still have the wall selected at this point. Item 5. On the architecture tab, choose roof by footprint. On the draw panel, verify that the Pick Walls button is selected. It is indeed. On the options bar, deselect Define Slope. It's not selected. On the overhang, type in 1 foot. Move your cursor over a wall and make sure the overhang alignment line is facing outside the exterior wall. It is. Hit tab. No, it's not going to play nice with me. Well, one would hope it would play nice with me, but it decided not to, so I guess I'll have to select each one of these walls. And here, I could select this wall, or I could just trim this to corner. I'm going to trim it to corner. Less geometry is better. Looks good, right? Now it's time to set the slope. The objective here is to slope the roof starting at the northwest east corner as the low point and ending at the southwest corner, the high point. You do this by adding a slope arrow as follows. On the draw panel, click the slope arrow button as shown in figure 7.40. That's this icon right here. What we're going to do is pick this corner up here. And then we're going to pick that corner there. And then we're going to press escape so that we're out of that. Item 4, select the slope arrow you just added to the model. Okay. In the properties dialog box under constraints, change specify to slope. Constraints, so we're going to take specify here to slope. Under dimensions, change slope to 3 inches and 12 as opposed to 9 and 12. 9 and 12 is pretty steep. And we're going to hit apply and click our finish. And we should have a sloped roof. So let's go look in 3D. And we have a sloped roof. What other problem do we have? Our walls don't connect to our roof at this point, right? Do we know how to fix that? Alright, so let's go back to the floor plan because the first thing we got to do is fix the view range. Alright. Again, you have a view range issue. You can see only the corner of the roof that sits below the cut plane. You can change that with the view range. Press escape to display the view properties in the properties dialog box. Scroll down the list until you arrive at the view range. So we're in the properties dialog box for the view. We're going to come down until we go to view range. Which is right here. We're going to hit edit. Change the rest of the settings to reflect figure 7.43. Somebody want to tell me what those settings are? My picture here is so small I can't see it.
The top is unlimited.
Top set to unlimited.
The coupling is set to 40 feet on the,
40 feet, okay.
and the offset on the bottom is just 0 down.
And this is just 0.
The view depth is also 0.
View depth is also 0. Okay. Now I can see my entire roof, right? Still have a problem with the walls. Alright, so now what we need to do is fix the fact our walls poke up over here and they don't connect over here. Just after figure 7.44. Of course, there is a wall issue. You can attach most of the walls to the roof by simply selecting them and attaching the tops, but you'll have to modify the profile of one wall as follows. Alright, so let's go in and attach the walls that we can attach just by going to 3D and saying, hey, I want to take this wall, attach the top. It does that. That's nice. Saves us a whole bunch of modeling. Even the round wall attaches nicely. Okay, so these walls were relatively simple. And this wall should be pretty simple. This wall, let's try it, but probably not going to attach the way we want it to. Can't keep wall and roof joined. That's not a good error. So remember we edited the profile of this wall earlier? Yeah. Alright, so item 5, in the project browser, go to the section called West Corridor section. Let's go there, and that should allow us to start working on this wall again. Sections, West Corridor section. And here's our wall in question, right? And it would be nice if we could just attach the top, but since we've already edited the profile, this doesn't really know what to do at this point. It's confused. So we're going to edit this profile. And we're going to pick a line here and pick that line right there at the bottom of the roof. Using the trim to corner, I'll trim this corner and this corner, trim this corner and this corner. And can I keep this line in here? No, it's going to have some issues with that, right? So I'm going to get rid of that line. I'm going to hit OK. And that wall is edited properly now. And if I go to a 3D view, and I rotate around this, it looks like it's pretty good, right? So we've put a roof on this building, this building, this building. We don't have a roof here. We're going to explore a different roofing tool to put a roof here. Alright, creating roofs by extrusion. This essentially lets us define a roof by creating a profile. Creating a roof by extrusion is almost always done in an elevation or section view. The concept is to create unique geometry that can't be accomplished by simply using a footprint and plan. A barrel vault or an eyebrow dormer comes to mind. But there are literally thousands of combinations that will influence how your roofs will be designed. To get started, the last roof left to be placed is the south jog of the west wing of the model. This is the perfect area for a funky roof. The first thing to do is to change the 3 walls defining the jog to the exterior with no parapet. So let's select those. This should be review at this point. Move that over so I can see the properties. And we're just going to tell it no parapet. Alright, beautiful. Go to level 1 floor plan. Go over here. Level 1 floor plan. What we want to do is we want to go into elevation. So we want to work on this particular roof in this elevation. No, but since we don't really have an elevation over here, the focus is on it, we're going to place one. So go back to level 1. Follow along with the book. Go to level 1. On View tab, click the elevation button. View tab, elevation. Bringing up the wrong type of elevation. Okay. Anyhow, we have the elevation tab selected here. In the properties dialog box, we need to make sure that, oh, I accidentally hit escape. Elevation. Change this to a building elevation. Place the elevation approximately right here. Hit escape. Takes out of the elevation tool. I'm going to click right here so you can see this is the view extent of your elevation. We want to drag that in. We only really want to deal with this elevation right here. Okay. Make sure you pull the view depth back to see the wall beyond. So if I click on this again, this is my view depth. I want to be able to see this wall. So I need to pull this depth beyond that wall. So we're going to go here and we're going to change a couple things about this. First, we're going to change the scale to 1/2 of an inch equals a foot. Then we're going to change the detail level to fine. Now we're going to change the view name, because right now, your project browser over here. Right now the view name is elevation 1-A. We want to change that to south entry elevation. Click the apply button. Don't have to do that. On the architecture tab, click the reference plane button. Okay, let's go back to level 1 before we do that. Architecture tab, reference plane button. Set the offset to 1 foot 6 inches. Oh, that's a mess up there. Let's try that again. 1 foot 6 inches. Pick the southernmost wall and offset the reference plane away from the building. Let's just pick a line, make it easier. Alright, so basically what I'm drawing is a reference plane that's going to allow me to draw the edge of the roof here in a second. Press escape twice to exit the command. Select the reference plane. In the Properties dialog box, change the name to South Entry Overhang. Hit apply. I recommend, like most things, that you name your reference planes so you can easily find them. Click apply. Open the elevation called South Entry Elevation. I'm going to do that just by clicking here. The importance of the reference plane that you just added becomes obvious at this point. You need to establish a clear starting point for the roof you're about to add. Because the roof will be added in elevation, Revit doesn't know where to start the extrusion. This reference plane will serve as the starting point. Naming the reference plane is the way you can use them when they aren't visible in the view. Continue with these steps. On the Architecture tab, choose Roof, Roof by Extrusion. Alright, you probably haven't seen this dialog box more than a couple times throughout the semester, but basically it's asking us, what plane do you want to work on? And since we named the plane, it's easy to find. And you're like, oh, well, you only have one reference plane in there right now. It's not that hard. Wait till you have a project with 30 or 40 reference planes. And you don't remember what reference plane 26 is. So make sure you name your stuff. And hit OK. When you start the command, Revit asks you to specify a reference plane. Select the reference plane South Entry Overhang from the name drop-down list. Click OK. In the next dialog box, change the level setting to level 3 and click OK. So we're in sketch mode now. But we're constrained to the reference plane, which is 16 inches, or 18 inches rather, in front of the wall. So it makes sense we're drawing on a two-dimensional plane now. That's 18 inches in front of that wall. In the work plane, click the reference plane as shown and click the Pick Lines button. Oh, where was I? Click OK. In the next dialog box, set the level to level 3. We did that. And click OK. In the work plane panel, click reference plane as shown in figure 7.51 and click the Pick Lines button. So we're going to set up some more reference planes. Pick Lines button. We're going to offset a reference plane 3 foot to the left and to the right of the exterior walls. Okay. Change that to 3 foot and come right in here. One reference plane. Space bar on the tab. 2 reference planes. I think I screwed that one up, so I'm going to set it again. Tab. There we go. Alright. And we're going to create a reference plane that's 4 foot above this. So we'll change this offset to 4 foot. Yeah, there we go. Basically, we're adding some points that allow us to draw a nice arc. In the Properties dialog box, select Roofs from the drop-down list, and then click the Edit Type button. Okay. I must have closed my properties. So if you close your properties, how do you get it back? View, User Interface, Properties. And we're going to go to Architecture, Roof by Footprint. Good, good, good. Well, let's deviate from what they were asking us to do. There we go. So we're out of the reference plane. We can come in here now. We can go to Properties dialog, select Roofs from the drop-down list, and then click the Edit Type button. Edit Type. First thing to do is click Duplicate and call this a canopy roof. Hit OK. Click the Edit button in the Structures row. We've done this multiple times now. In the Edit Assembly dialog, change the structure thickness to 4 inches as opposed to a foot. Okay. Click OK twice to get back to the model. Once, twice, good. It's time to put the actual roof into the model. So far you've been using great discipline in terms of setting reference planes and creating a separate roof for this canopy. Try to make this a habit. Follow these steps. On the draw panel of the Modify Create Extrusion Roof Profile tab, click the Start End Radius button. That's this tool right here, Start End Radius. So it's asking you for the start, the end, and the radius. Okay. In the Properties dialog box, set the extrusion in to -2 feet. Hit apply. Finish edit mode. Alright, now you have a roof up there. I'm going to go into 3D and you're going to see that roof doesn't go very far. Yeah, minimalism. Minimalism, not a good strategy when you're talking about roofs. You want to make sure it completely covers your building. And there's just one thing left to do, and it's pretty obvious. You need to attach the roof to the wall. This can be done in one command. On the Modify tab, click the Join Unjoin Roof button. Pick the top back arc on the canopy roof as shown in figure. Command. There you go. And then we're going to click the wall. Let's see how well that joined. Now that's a pretty complex piece of geometry, right? You can edit that line. You could have a double compound curve. You could have almost anything you want. And roof by footprint is a really, or roof by extrusion rather, is a really good tool to do some organic modeling that you may find difficult to do in other ways. Now we need to attach the walls to the canopy roof, so we grab that wall. Attach it to that. Grab this front wall. Attach it. Grab the side wall and do the same thing. You can see now the top of that wall follows the profile of that roof. Very nice, right? We didn't have to model that. Revit was smart enough to basically trim it off at the roof for us. All worked out very well. So the last item in Chapter 7 is adding a dormer to the hallway corridor that connects the two buildings. I typically ask you to try to do this on your own without me showing you how to do it first. It's not difficult. It just proves to me that you have garnered the skills necessary to be fluent with the roof tools. So that's going to conclude tonight's lecture. Before you come to class next week on Tuesday, make sure that you're really comfortable with these roofing tools, because we're going to be moving on to structural items. And structural items are pretty simple because we already have used tools that are very similar to them throughout the process.